Wonderful. All right. Well, hello. Happy Saturday to you. Thank you so much. I know more and more folks are popping in here this fine Saturday morning. I mean, what better way to spend your Saturday? I'm just saying, right? Thank you so much for tuning in here for our third edition of our Activate Academy. As a LifeVantage consultant, we know that it takes certain skills, right? To be able to excel in this business and achieve the level of goals that we want. And we want to help you do that. And so our goal is to bring you people who have paved the way, who have done the do and are doing the do, and share with you their tips, their tricks, strategies, and just pour into you so that you can be the best LifeVantage consultant that you can be. And so thank you for taking time out of your schedules. I really appreciate it. I am flying solo today. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Holly, and my husband Brian and we're actually coming to you from Sarasota, Florida. We have been we're executive consultants here at LifeVantage, but we've been with the company for 13 years. 13 years, can you believe it? So over a decade, we've been with this company. This is our one and only experience in this industry. And we're unemployable. That's what we like to call ourselves. We are unemployable. We love this industry. We love this company. We have no plans to go anywhere else. And our goal is, like I said, just to help other people like yourselves be able to have more options in life, whatever that means for you, whether it's financial security, whether it's more flexibility, whether it's spending more time with the people that matter the most, you name it. Or maybe it's like Jaya, who's having her 87th birthday with us today. She is on Zoom, everybody. Wish her a happy birthday in the chat. And she's traveling the world. She's thriving. Just incredible. She's what we aspire to do. But I'm overjoyed to be able to share with you some special guests as we bring with you every time we do these trainings. So before we get to our special guest, though, I like to typically start us off with a little bit of I like to do a little story. So if been with us the last two times, I like to do a little story. I want to make sure that I share that with you and make sure that you guys can see what I see. So give me a thumbs up real quick. If you can see what's on my screen, awesome. Love that. Perfect. So, all right. So the first story that I'm going to share with you today, and who doesn't like stories? You guys like stories?
Yep.
Right? I just love hearing other people's stories and where they've come from. And each time I tell a story, I don't share with you the name of the person because my goal is for you to hopefully guess it along the way. And you can always drop your guess down in the chat, but I'm going to share with you a little story about a dreamer who got rejected a lot. You're in this business. Have any of you ever felt rejected? Anybody have anybody tell you no? Well, I'm going to tell you about someone who started life with more reasons not to succeed, but yet went on to build something that we all know. Okay, his story is raw, real, and full of rejection, and maybe you'll guess who it is by the end. I have a pretty good feeling you will. So, this gentleman was actually born in Chicago, 1901. He was the fourth of five children to a father who tried many businesses and a mother who kept the home together, right? Stay at home mom and the dad out there hustling to provide for his family. At age 9, though, this individual, his family had already moved three times, and he found himself in Kansas City. To help his family, he and his brother would get up at 3:30 in the morning to deliver newspapers before and after school, sometimes working 7 days a week. Again, you did what you had to do in those days. By the age of 16, he dropped out of school and he joined the U.S. Army to serve in World War I. Well, he applied, let's put it this way, to U.S. Army, but he was rejected for being underage. Again, he was only 16, but that didn't deter him. He joined the Red Cross and served as an ambulance driver where he drew cartoons on his ambulance and published some work in the military newspaper. That's clue number one. After the war, he got a job at the newspaper, but was fired as a cartoonist because his editor thought he lacked imagination. Oh my gosh, can you imagine? Lacked imagination. In his early 20s, he then started a studio called Laugh-O-Gram, but it went bankrupt after 2 years. So think about that. You get rejected by the army, you lose your job for lack of imagination. The first business that you try to start goes bankrupt. I mean, talk about perseverance. I mean, how many of you, and let's be honest with ourselves, would want to keep going versus just doing what everybody else is doing? So, with few resources, he packed up just the $40 that he had and moved to Hollywood and began again. He took his big idea to over a dozen different investors, and every single one of them said no. Every single one of them. The other studios actually tried to steal his ideas. He lost rights to his characters. He risked everything. And I know that there are some of you that are like, you went all in on this business. You in your mind, you've risked everything. And at one point, he was literally living off of canned beans. He was sleeping in his office. And he told his idea, and this will probably give it away, but he told his idea of a mouse as a main character would never work because it would terrify women. I don't know which is worse, the idea that people just felt that all of us women were terrified of mice, but he kept dreaming. He kept drawing and believing in a world that he could see so clearly. Years later, that same man created that silly little mouse that we all know as Mickey Mouse, that became one of the most beloved characters on earth. And Walt Disney then obviously founded a company that would become a global empire that still inspires magic today. So I want you to think about this. Just like Walt, you are a dreamer. You're a dreamer. And his path really reminds us of the vision that often comes before validation. People won't always see what it is that you see. They'll say no, they'll walk away, they'll doubt you at first, right? And it doesn't mean that you're wrong. It just means that your vision is bigger than their imagination. And the ones who keep going and get uncomfortable are the ones who are going to change the world. So today, again, as we go through this training, remember that you are capable of big things, amazing things, hard things, and you can persist when others would stop. So, because sometimes the no's, the failures, and the rejection, they aren't the walls that are shutting us all out, but they're actually proving ground for what's next. Yes. Oh my gosh. Who doesn't love a good story like that? So, I'm a sucker for Walt Disney being down here in Florida. Yes, we've been to Disney World just a few times. But again, I just love hearing how people have been able to overcome obstacles and still make their dreams a reality. And so, as we go into today, again, I'm super, super pumped because the special guests that we have here with you today, we have executives April and Bobby Wagner. They are also down here in Florida, and I'm not going to steal too much of their thunder. I'm going to let them kind of share their stories as we go throughout the day. But wouldn't it be really cool if you could create conversations that actually resulted in closing deals and that actually brought value to the relationships that you have? I think that would be really awesome. And wouldn't it be even better if you could take the very opportunity, the business opportunity that we have here, which for some of us, presenting the business opportunity is difficult, right? For whatever reason, we're challenged with that way. But what if we could position that opportunity in the way of a product that people really want? And that's just a sneak peek of what this incredible dynamic duo are going to be sharing with us today. Now, we've known April and Bobby Wagner since they joined LifeVantage. I still remember, Bobby, you probably remember this, when I think we were actually sitting in a vehicle that was a transportation from the airport over to an executive retreat. And we were just talking and we were getting to know each other. But obviously, over the years, April and Bobby Wagner have been in this industry for more than 3 decades. All right. This is not their first rodeo. They know what they're doing. They're not a one-trick pony. They have incredible skills, I mean, they're just good people. All right. They have a family of three boys. They love sports. And I know that they recently took up pickleball and been having a lot of success with that. So I'll let them share that as well. But what I love about this couple is that we continue to stay friends with them. We bounce ideas off of each other. We're completely transparent on our feelings and how we feel about the company, the industry, what's happening. And they show up. All right. They are not leaders who are just talking from the stage, who did the thing and then just keep showing up on stage. They are in the trenches, doing the invites, doing the follow-ups, enrolling. Oh my gosh, I'll let them share that with you as well. But I'm just thrilled that they were willing to take time out of their Saturday to join us today, and share with you guys on how to level up your business. All right. And so, first off, I think April is going to be kicking us off first, but I'm going to make her host
Okay.
so that she can then share her slides with us. So,
Oh, I think I see a share. Your sharing is not turned on.
oh, let
Oh,
me
wait,
wait.
no, I see it. I see it. Wait
I was
one
going to say it
second.
should be.
Let's
Yep.
see. All right, we got it.
Awesome. Wait. You
Okay,
guys
we got
excited?
full
Who's
screen.
got their pen
Wow,
and
it
paper
worked.
ready? Did you
You
guys
did
get your
good.
axio? I hope so. I hope
You
so.
got
Well,
me excited. I want to join again, and I haven't seen nothing yet.
My job is done. I can
it
leave.
is a
All
fun
right.
business, especially when technology works. I'll tell you a little bit about us, and then you're just going to hear a lot about us as we go through, both our trainings. But, as Holly said, this is an industry that we've been in now for, it's actually 33 years this month, which 33 is hard to say. And then the ages of our kids is even harder to say. It's like time is going by, but we absolutely love what we do. We've got involved in this industry at a time where my husband had a very traditional business. He owned a picture frame factory and some retail stores, but he had large receivables, didn't get paid those receivables. And so really those receivables put him out of business. So not only did we lose the business, but we lost his income. So, it was kind of a double fold there. And as that factory was closing, a gentleman came in to get a magazine framed that was about a business. And if you've ever known my husband, as you will by the end of today, he is very inquisitive. He will ask a lot of questions. So, this gentleman invited us to a meeting. We went to a meeting, and that's really where my husband saw not a product, but he saw an opportunity. And so he saw an opportunity based on some numbers that, he just leaned over to me. And I got to tell you, I did not see it at all. I think I was more focused on the product, not on the opportunity. And he saw the numbers and he just said, if any part of this is true, we're going to be rich. And so that's really where our journey started. We were so lucky to be able to have a great mentor right off the start, someone that had been in business for a while. That was definitely a plus for us. But, I look at what's gone on in the 33 years that we've been in business now, and we got more out of this business than just earnings. Like a lot of times people get involved because they're thinking of the money side of it, but just the ability on how we were, one, able to work together. So, we met in the 8th grade. We were really, really good friends. We dated right after high school, primarily because I missed having him around. I mean, we kind of both went our separate ways. But then you get careers and you're really gone separate ways. He's working 80 hours one way. It's amazing. We even had 2 kids at that point. I've gone another way, so really not seeing one another. And this is a business where not only did we get to work together, and that was a struggle in the beginning. I was in construction. I ran a public water company. I did estimating for a utility contractor, building spec homes. I was doing so many things where I was kind of in charge and he's in charge of his business. And then the two had to come together. But thankfully we did, because, we've been able to raise our kids, be there for them anytime we need to go somewhere, we go somewhere. We're able to travel. It has been a true blessing for us. So there's so much going on in the business, not always what the reason the person originally gets involved with. But I'm going to share with you what I think is the easiest business out there. And, I think one of the abilities that Bobby and I have is we're able to really kind of dummy down things. We're able to make things super easy for people. And, I think every once in a while people think, is there scripts? We see people train on scripts, is there a magic script? And, is there something you all are not telling us that you're successful? Well, let me tell you, and I know our organization knows, any trick we know, you're going to know right away. Anything that's working, I promise we're going to share it with you, because, if you're not making money and not successful, then we're not successful. And so that is so, so important. But, quite often people get really hung up on sharing too much knowledge. And I'll go through a little bit more about that, which makes it really not duplicatable. If Jaya, we were congratulating her on her 87th birthday. She happens to be a physician. If we had to all be as smart as Jay about the products, none of us could be successful in the business. So we need to keep this business super easy for a number of reasons, because when we get too smart about the business and have to share too much knowledge, we scare people away. So I'm going to show you our easy, low-key approach in which, we really, really do just use the tools. And it's really not about us. It's not about my self-esteem or my ego or anything. It's really about that person that I'm sharing the business with. So one of the things that we need to do is we need to have lots of conversations. And all of these conversations are not all the time business focused. They're not product sales focused. They're conversations for a number of reasons. Some of the reasons may be that, just sharing the knowledge of what a great product we have. You may be sharing a little bit of the business. Maybe the person's not really interested, but I find a lot of conversations I have today, people think they know what we do. They think we either just sell a product, or it's one of those pyramid things, or they just really don't understand what we're doing. They're ignorant in a really nice way, but sometimes we need to get them to open up to see, in case they need it at some point, what our business is really about. So it can be knowledge. From that knowledge and conversations, a lot of times you get a lot of referrals. Have you ever had a conversation with somebody, and this is kind of where you need to learn to listen. But if you're having a conversation with somebody and they'd say, my sister'd be great at that. Are you acting on that? Are you asking to get in touch with that sister? Or I have a sister that has a nail salon, or I have a sister that's this, or a brother that's that, or whatever. We need to be aware of some of those conversations as well. And then, the other thing I like about having these conversations, and again, not always with the end result of somebody joining the business is, and we had this happen early on. So a lot of these are lessons that we had happened to us early on, but by not letting people know what you're doing, you're not protecting your territory. So what do I mean by that? So very early on, when we got involved in the business, we sponsored this gentleman into the business, and he was kind of a know-it-all. He knew exactly how he was going to build this business and who to talk to and who would want to join us, and, all these good things. Well, one of the first big company meetings where we went together, where there were other teams, he came and he was excited. Of course, he didn't have any guests, but wouldn't you know who else was in the room? His sister, who literally lived around the corner, because he had told us, oh, she would never do this. So again, we have to let people know what we're doing. In our old neighborhood, the houses were extremely large, so you didn't really see a lot of one another. But what everybody was known as a house. We had the vitamin house, we had the Walmart house, we had the insurance house, there was the sanitation guy who we thought for sure was in the mafia, we had all these different houses. But even today, when I'm playing tennis, a lot of my friends will come up to me and say, what do you think about this nutrition or this vitamin or this diet, or how can I get this to one of your products? Because I've done a really good job of people knowing this is my business, very much like a real estate agent or an insurance broker or, mortgage broker. You need to let people know what you do so that you can really kind of just, protect your territory. So, have lots of conversations, let people do, but everything Bobby and I do is super low key. So, what are we looking for? Who are we looking for? If you feel like you're sharing a lot directly about the products and the opportunity, I hope I'm able to soften the way that you have that approach today, because I'm going to tell you what people really want is hope. So our first opportunity back then, we spent $5,000. That's another fallacy. A lot of people believe to get involved in this industry, you've got to have a lot of money. So, we spent $5,000 on our first opportunity in hopes that Bobby could make some money while he figured out what he was really going to do. Did you hear that? In hopes. So we know hope is a big thing for a lot of people. They really have themselves backed in a corner, and they need someone to give them that hope, to put a dream back in their life, a vision of where things could be instead of, where they're stuck right now. The other thing is, I'll tell you, people are not out looking for another business. They're working 40, 50, 60 hours a week. They want to have fun. So if you can show them how to have fun, and we make it a purpose, Bobby and I, we're going to the beach tomorrow for a couple of days. We always make sure that we're out around. People are asking about his Jeep all the time. It gets us into conversations. We're around more people. We are into happy hour. We're always making sure that we're around people. One, for the fun for us, because, the worst thing, we don't want to sit in the house and just talk on Zooms all day. I mean, we love you all, but, we need that personal interaction too going on. But, fun is a way that you will get people involved with your business, whether it's playing pickleball, whatever you love to do, just get out among those people, have some conversations, not all based on product and opportunity. I promise I'm going to show you how to get around to all that. But I don't want that just to be the focus of your life. I think it has to be broader than that. And community. There's so many people. Again, because of this business, I played tennis. I played tennis on the boys team in school early on, through all through high school and stuff. Because of this business, I was able to go back to playing tennis after we were in business about 3-4 years. I bet if I was in construction still, I probably never would have picked up a racket again until I was 65. I mean, it just probably would have never happened because I would have been so busy. So we're fortunate in this business that it creates a lot of community, not only with our church, with pickleball, with tennis, and these, the people that we have in here, like Holly and Brian, who we love to work with and travel with, and JR, and many of you that, we just get to go all around with. But, if your invite is not working, I want you to consider these few things. A lot of it is the energy. And I hear people, particularly on three-way calls, the energy is not there. It's kind of like you're talking, but maybe you need to put a mirror in front of your face and smile at yourself and get excited about your opportunity, or maybe write a list of all the benefits it's given to you, because sometimes we can really take the benefits for granted. Maybe we don't see those benefits in the beginning for the lifestyle that this creates, or maybe we're at that please buy my product mentality. I know that was me in the beginning. We had a weight loss product, and I tell you, I'd be up the drugstore aisle just wanting to sell weight loss in the weight loss aisle. I mean, it was just like I was just buy my product type thing, So I think we sometimes get so excited, and we do have amazing products that are unlike anything else out there, but it's got to be more than that, driven to just buy my product. The other thing is, sometimes we give too much information, and I know especially with Dallas, take this to heart if you're going to Dallas. And it actually was coming back from a Dallas trip one day. When our kids were still at home, we would take the 6 a.m. flight back out. So we partied late the night before, and then we, up at the airport at 4 o'clock in the morning, back on a plane by 6, so we could get home to them. A lot of times, Holly, because they had baseball like your son, and we didn't want to miss any games and stuff. So, one day we're sitting on a plane at 6 a.m. and they keep it dark. They're hoping everybody goes back to sleep. We had a consultant behind us that went through the products, through the opportunity, to his poor seatmate, and just kept talking, because I know he was excited, but he didn't leave any information unsaid. So obviously there was no curiosity created with that as well. So that was really tough. Just listening to him, I felt bad for the guy behind him as well. But, the curiosity part comes when we use our tools. don't explain the whole tool. You know, sometimes people explain what's going to be in the tool. You need to get people to watch the video, why they need to watch the video, not what's in the video. So you need to create that curiosity if you're having trouble getting them to watch any of the tools that you're sharing. And do leave questions that they didn't ask unanswered. If they didn't ask it, it wasn't important to them. So, you know, I'm going to tell you, the right person doesn't need everything to be perfect in this business. They're not going to analyze every detail. You know, they're looking for something. The right person is looking for a business. So it really kind of takes all the pressure off of you being perfect. You just can't say the wrong thing to the right person. So again, it's about having all these little conversations, not just dwelling, you know, on what you think is important.
Yeah.
But to me,
April, real quick, and I apologize, I wanted to try to interject here. When we talk about conversations, and I love where you're kind of going with this, is I think some people, first of all, where are introverts?
yeah,
right? Hello. I
Severe.
know that there's some of you are introverts. Drop a 1 in the chat if you're an introvert, or the idea of just asking someone about your product or business, right? It scares you, right? You crawl back in your shell like a turtle or a snail, right? You boop and pop your head right back in when you're like, you get excited, but then you're like, I don't know where to start. So when you kind of talk about conversations, I like that you said don't always make it about business. Because we overthink things, right? April, like if like for example, like what would be a good example of a conversation? Like again, we overthink it, right? So if someone were to literally start a conversation, how would you start a conversation with someone?
Conversations are easy to start, but if you let me get through my magic script,
Oh,
it won't be that hard. You
it
don't have
won't
to
be
think
that hard. Yeah, yeah.
You're
Well,
overthinking it.
yeah, exactly. No, I just the simple.
I promise, as a severe introvert, I've got this down to a science, and it is so easy. I'll say 3 things. It's so easy, I promise. But we'll go back around to that question. But you know, to me, unlike when we first got involved in this business, we had to have an office. We had to do the meetings. I remember we were doing our first original meetings, a home meeting with this couple, and they were arguing back and forth all the time over the meeting, over the littlest details. And I just said to Bobby, I said, I can't invite my friends here. It's embarrassing. They're always arguing and stuff. And so he said to me, the alternative was to get up in front of the room. And I was just like, I mean, I literally read from 3x5 cards. I could make no eye contact. His voice was cracking. We were horrible. But thank God we don't have to do that anymore. You know, technology has severely changed the way that we do business. Not only with time, we always did a Tuesday night and a Saturday morning meeting. For years, we got dressed to the nines. We traveled to cities to do in-person meetings. Because remember, there was no Zoom when we got started. There was limited cell phones because they were just coming into market. Heck, there was a fax machine for a majority of our first company. You know, that's not even a thing anymore. Kids would be like, a fax machine? What's a fax machine? It has never been easier to do business because of technology. Our phones are mini computers. If you just have a phone, you can build a huge international business with that. And we're excited about this. I have to do the presentation. I don't have to explain anything. But I do have to learn to share the tools, the videos, the short videos and stuff. And, you know, that's where people are kind of really missing the boat. They're feeling they need to take ownership. So, Holly, this is my magic script. This is what I do, you know, and we do it time and time again. All I say is I let people talk. Again, I'm not a person of many words. This is a long stretch for me. You know, I love Bobby talk and stuff. And occasionally when we're at the beach, he'll say, go get their number. And I like a challenge. I'm very competitive that way. But, you know, I always say I might have something that could help you. Would you be open to looking at a video? So let's say you're at a baseball game with Austin, you're sitting around a bunch of parents, and then one of the ladies says, you know, I have this going on, or my husband wants me to get a part-time job, or whatever is said. All I would say is, I might have something that would help you with that. Would you be open to taking a look at a video? And they say yes. I'm like, great, give me your phone number. I'll text it to you later. That's it. Everybody can do that. It can't get any easier than that. That is my big opening. So any conversation, I mean, heck, you know, sometimes we went back to do some networking meetings, you know, a little while ago. that could be a little bit more challenging, but even that I found easier. I was able to go in or at the beach, you just smile at somebody, you say hello, and they start conversations. You know what? And if the person doesn't, it's probably not a person for this business. They may not really be a people person if they don't want to talk, or maybe you just got them in a bad mood or whatever is going on. But this keeps my business super easy. I didn't explain a whole lot, for a lot of reasons. This is, what I would say is non-confrontational. This is low key. I can say it to my mother. I can say it to my best friend. I can say it to a total stranger. And, if they act on it, they act on it. My job from here is to follow up and make sure that I get whatever information they need. But this starts the ball rolling. We are networkers. So our whole opportunity is to get some information out there, but it's also to be collecting information to make sure that we have these contacts, because a good networker in any industry, for insurance, real estate, whatever they may be doing, it's all about making those contacts so that we have them out there. So this is my magic script. This is what I say all day long when I'm out and somebody, and you can do this quick. You can do this super quick. You can bump into somebody at a store, wherever you're going, and I might have something that could help you with that. Would you be open to taking a look at a video? I can promise you nobody said, no, I don't want to look at your stupid video. I have never, ever had that happen. So it's super low key. And this is why it works. It is simple. It's non-threatening. It keeps relationships. I've shared my products and opportunity with tons of people. Doesn't mean they've all bought my product, but they do all know what I do. And so when they're ready, it allows me to keep dripping. And this is a powerful thing that I learned early on. And maybe because I am a severe introvert, but I could completely just drip on a person every time. And I did it just this last week with a lady. There's one lady in particular, Bobby and I really, really want in our business. And she just doesn't know it yet. She thinks she's busy. But, I keep dripping on her, and I will get her. I mean, I just love a good challenge, any challenge out there. But I will keep sharing enough information to where either her life changes enough, or something I said, and which surprised me actually. On Monday, I talked to her about gut health a little bit, and she was like, oh, gut health, which caught her more attention than the GLP-1 or the collagen. So it's interesting. All of a sudden, something we have will get their attention. But, it always keeps the conversation going, whether it's for the same, I say the same thing, whether it's for products or business, it doesn't really matter. It's certainly, keeps it easy. But so anyway, that's to me why it works. But this is another pitfall sometimes we need to be aware of. How many times has somebody said to you, can I sell that? I think we've all heard that. We've got product users, and I, a lot of this comes from, I feel like we were with the diamond and the gem ranks and all, we were more focused on customers for a little while than we were as far as getting new consultants for our business. And that was really our fault. I felt, we were going after the wrong thing at gem rank instead of, building our business the way that we knew we should have been. But, it is so important that you remember, even somebody that just wants the product, that you let them know, hey, you can get this stuff for free. You can earn a little or a lot if you're interested. I don't care if they just want the products. You got to let them know there is an opportunity behind this. And so this was really obvious to Bobby and I early on, because when we first started that first company, I was in construction. I worked really closely with an accountant for 11 years. Really closely, knew him pretty well. Do you realize that he'd been in and out of network marketing or multi-level marketing companies for 11 years? And it wasn't until I brought the opportunity that Bobby was getting involved with that he even let me know he was doing anything. 11 years. One worse than that is our first house. We bought soap from Amway. We didn't know what Amway was. It wasn't until we were married 12, 13 years that Amway, even somebody said, do you know what Amway is? I'm like, yeah, they just sell soap. Never share. They stole our opportunity. Do you realize we could have been in Amway early on? We could have been in another company long before the company that we would. Now, maybe we were just meant to be with that first company. Maybe we were lucky to have a great mentor and stuff. But, that's a lesson. If you don't let people know, you stole their opportunity, you stole their ability to be able to make money. And so remember it, it's all your mindset. You are sharing something with somebody that not only products, but opportunity is super, super powerful. So with that, I hope you took a little away from that. If nothing else, my magic script, but I really only say a few things, this might help you. The word great, if you ever listen to me on the phone, everything's great, everything's hunky-dory. There's just a few lines, and once you learn those, this is the easiest business out there. So thanks, Holly. Thanks everyone for listening. I'm gonna stop my share. If I can get to it.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you. And you may not even need to make me host again. If you just want to stop share, you may just want to, I wonder if
Okay.
you can, I wonder if you can make Bobby host for our next section there. But I mean, was she not amazing? I mean, were you guys writing a ton of notes? Can I get, yes, drop ones in the chat if you were picking up anything that April was sharing. I mean, again, do people really know what you do and how you do it? I loved that. I mean, I actually had a situation where a friend of mine was telling me that they had just started doing something. And I was like, do you not realize what I do and what it is that I offer and what I've been doing for like 10 years? And they're like, wait, you're in network marketing? Wait, I was like, how did you not know? Right. And at first I was mad at them, like, how dare you go join this other company and you buy this other product? But at the same time, I'm like, shame on me. For whatever reason, I wasn't being loud enough. I wasn't making sure that people understood what it was that I had to offer. So I love that. Do people really know what it is that you have? And I love that April said people want hope. People are looking to feel a part of a community. They're wanting solutions to the things that are ailing them, that are challenging them. They're looking for hope. They want to see that light at the end of the tunnel if they have. And let's be honest, I believe that LifeVantage can help them in every facet of their life. And so I love that she said that as well. That's what people want, right? She also talked about less is more, right? When we encourage someone to go watch a movie or read a book, we don't tell them how it ends. We don't tell them how the movie ends. We don't give them the cliffhanger. We don't tell them, oh, here's what happens in the last chapter. No, right? We try to pique their curiosity. And like April said, we use our excitement like, oh my gosh, I just saw the most amazing movie. The characters, they just did a phenomenal job. It was funny, it was witty. I mean, it was everything you could possibly want in a movie. You totally have to go watch it. I really didn't say anything about that movie, but you're probably like, huh, I never thought of that. Or maybe that movie or book wasn't on my radar, but now I'm probably going to go ahead and check it out. Right. So I love that. Less is more. And I love that you talked about reading from note cards, reading from note cards, handshaking. I, I meet so many consultants that are like, well, I just can't present. I'm like, are you trying? Are you willing to be messy? Right? Are you willing to be messy before you master everything? Probably not. Right? So many times we're so worried about embarrassing ourselves, we're making it about us, and we're missing that awkward phase, that fun phase, which has to happen in order for us to become awesome, right? So it's okay to have note cards. You don't have to know this stuff inside and out. I mean, heck, Bobby and April again are they're pros. They've been in this industry for 30 years and then they've been able to adjust and change with the times given technology and approaches, but they're still at it and they're still doing it, right? So there's something to be said about that. And then again, telling the whole story. I like that you said that, April. I mean, I know that there are product lovers. We're not saying one is better than the other. You lead with what you're most passionate about, but don't not share the other piece. Okay. We always talk about going to a buffet. Does anybody like buffets? We like buffets because we like options. We want to see what all of our options are, right? So you go to a buffet and you're like, oh, I'm going to take one bite of this. I'm going to try one bite of this, to see what you want to go back for seconds on. And that's how I feel when it comes to presenting this opportunity. The opportunity is the products, but it's the opportunity, it's the business. So share both sides of it and just meet people where they're at. ask them how they want to get involved. Do you see yourself activating your health with the products, or do you see yourself sharing this with a few people that you know? Like, to see what direction you're going to go down. And I love that. So I just, and by not doing that, you said steal it from people. I liked that. I wrote that down. Don't steal the opportunity from other people. When someone says, wait, I can sell this, you're like, yeah, hello. Sometimes we get so afraid that other people are afraid of the idea of a business that we tiptoe around it, or we don't even present it in a way to where they understand that they can actually earn money, right? They can make enough to get their product for free. They could maybe make enough to pay to get their nails done, or take their kids out on vacation, or go to a theme park when they wouldn't have done otherwise, because the idea of spending that extra money makes them feel guilty or stressed out. It's the little things. So, oh my gosh, so many notes. April took tons of stuff. Love it. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Awesome. So much good stuff. And her other half, I'm excited. Bobby's got tons of energy too. He is just, he gets very passionate about this, as he should. And so hopefully you'll go ahead and take a lesson from that. But I think,
Should I be able to share?
yeah, well, if April made you host,
Let me see, sharing center.
because she has hosting ability right now, so she would need to, I think, then offer it up to you now. We're gonna see people.
I did, Bobby.
Perfect.
There it is. Cool.
See, anybody can do this. We're working together.
Anybody can do this.
You guys ready? Stretching your arms, shake your arms out a little bit. Can you believe it? We're already like halfway through. What? It's unreal. All right. Take it away, Mr. Wagner.
And this is going to complement, everything that that April said. This is just going to be a full compliment. And it's funny, every time I listen to April go through this, and we are in the same house. We've met when we were 13 years old. Yes, I robbed the cradle, I admit it. I don't know how at one time we were both in 8th grade, but I did rob the cradle. Okay, so whatever. But what comes to my mind as you were recapping, Holly, is we're baseball people, even though our boys are done now. We're still fans, and I remember there's a movie out there. I think the name of it is For the Love of the Game, and that's really where April and I are at now. It's for the love of the game. We raised our boys. Okay, they're doing well. We're empty nesters, and we just love it. We love it, and you've heard the saying before: if you love what you do, you never work a day in your life. And that hope and that fun and that community, that security, the freedom, all of those things, everybody wants those things. So that's what it's all about for us now. And what we are always analyzing our business. We're always looking at what's working and what's not working. Okay, that's a big part of what we do. And over 33 years, you can imagine there was a time when certain things worked, but then they no longer worked. Things change. And we've gone through many cycles, okay, in this business. And a few months back, it just hit us that the one or two things that never change, opportunity and people's need for it, never changes. Okay, opportunity is always there, and honestly, I think in today's world, it's more important than ever. Okay, than it ever was. But and then the other thing that April was just talking about is conversations. Now how we go about sharing that information, plugging people into that information, providing that information, that has changed over the years. From we did things on radio, we did things in magazines, we used fax machines, we used email, on top of all the face-to-face stuff. So the connection part changes and will change, okay? But keep this in mind. That is not a bad thing. That's just change, you know? I mean, think about it. April mentioned we have these mini computers in our pockets that we call phones. It's not a phone, it is a mini computer, okay, that we happen to be able to speak into. I mean, it's amazing what's happened, and and even how we do things with that will change in the future. But I don't want to go back to being limited to being in an office with a phone on a wall with some 12-foot cord with, looks like spaghetti attached to it and having that be my phone. I don't want to go back to that. So, we have always looked and changed as it was needed, okay, in the business. But some things don't change. You got to share what you have with people, and you got to learn how to connect the information with people. Okay. So, my journey, and April said this, I invited myself to a meeting. Okay. Why? My picture frame business was getting ready to go bankrupt. I'd never had a job, and I wanted to stay self-employed. I didn't want to go get a job. I'd been self-employed to, I think Holly said this before, you become unemployable. Okay, well, I'd never had a job and I didn't want to start after having owned a business for 12 years. Okay, I just had to find something else to do. So as I go through this, because my focus is going to be on sharing the opportunity and making sure that the opportunity is included in the very first conversation you have with every prospect and customer. You have to shift, okay? It's necessary, but it's how our journey started. I invited myself to a meeting, and when I saw that money could be made, and I'm just being as truthful as I can be with you, okay? I didn't care what the product was. I just didn't care. As long as it wasn't illegal, I didn't care. Okay. Well, my dad was a cop. Okay. I couldn't do the illegal stuff. So, it was, you couldn't do it. So it didn't matter. It happened. We first saw it presented as water filters. We didn't do that, but we ended up meeting our mentor that was in a wellness company, and that's what we ended up doing. So let me make sure. Okay. So from this point on, folks, our opportunity is a product. Don't ever forget it. Okay. It's a product. It's like Protandem. It's like collagen. It's like GLP-1. It's like gut health. It's a product. It's a product that provides money and hope and fun and lifestyle and that. Just like Protandim reduces oxidative stress, GLP-1 gets rid of fat, collagen gets rid of wrinkles. Okay, opportunity is where the hope, the fun, the lifestyle, the freedom, the security, that's where that is. That's our product. And we can't skip that. And I'm just telling you, in my opinion, it's by far our best product. It's also our most underutilized product. Think about that, folks. Look at the product line we have, and we're a 200 plus $1 million company. Now, I'm not making light of that. It's good enough to be publicly traded. We're debt free. We have money in the bank. That's all good. Okay. But with our product line, we should be far past $1 billion. Okay. We're 16 years old. I mean, we should be. Well, why are we not? Okay. And this isn't negativity. We're just not sharing the opportunity as a product with people. Let me ask you something, all kidding aside. Do you think there's anyone out there that you know that needs more money? Do you think there's anyone out there that you know that has money, okay, but maybe they want more? Or maybe they'd like to not have to keep doing what they're doing to have the money that they have? Maybe they'd like to shift a little bit, okay? So you got to get over the fact that the opportunity and mentioning it scares you. You got to get over it, okay? Let me ask you something. April and I, our business has done well over $200 million in business since we joined the industry. Would you like to have had us on your team? Would you like to have had Holly and Brian on your team? I would. Okay. Do you know if you had started the conversation with me with product, I would have mentally shut down so quick, you would have never got a chance to tell me about the opportunity because my head wasn't there. I'm trying to figure out how, if I lost my business and I lost my income, well, the house and cars and kids and wife were next. I mean, for Pete's sake, that's what was on my mind. So you got to do it, but I understand that, if you've never been self-employed before, if you've never been in a business like this before, I understand the reluctance. So there's a way to share the opportunity without drawing numbers out on a board, without getting into specifics. That's not what I'm talking about, and I don't want you to think I'm talking about whipping out a whiteboard and drawing pyramids and circles and looking like a football coach. Okay, that's not what I'm talking about. Just by mentioning you could get the product for free makes people think. Just mentioning, and April said this, you can earn a little or you can earn lots. You know how many people would love to travel but can't afford it? Okay. And just give you an idea, 33 years in the industry, this is the first time this year is the very first time April and I have qualified for 3 free trips in 1 year. We were in Africa on safari. Okay. We were in Alaska on a cruise. And in about 5 or 6 weeks, we go to Bahia, Puerto Vallarta, Mexico. So there's a lot of ways to do this. And part of it, you could use your story, like why you got involved or how you got involved. Okay. But here's something that's really important. You got to keep it short. Man, you can't get diarrhea of the mouth, folks. You can't do it. Okay, it will turn people off faster than anything. I'll tell you one thing that I do. April and I are in a little bit of a different place when we're talking to people and we're at the beach. Okay, why? Well, number one, people are there to have fun, relax, maybe have an adult beverage or two. Okay, we understand that. But we also understand we may not ever see him again. Okay, we may not get a chance for seconds. So we deal with that situation a little bit differently because we need to make sure we have a way of reaching out and connecting with them. Okay. Now, what's the flip side of that? Well, let's say we're playing pickleball or April's playing tennis. I mean, April's on like 4 or 5 teams every week. Okay. She don't have to press the issue when she's at tennis because she knows she's going to see the person again. Okay. It could be church. You don't ever have to press the issue. You're going to see him again on next Sunday. Okay. For me, it's at pickleball. Okay. I know when, especially with league play, when we're playing in a league, I know I'm going to see these guys, not only my teammates, but I'm going to see the players on the other teams every week. So I don't have to press it. Okay. So keep it short. Okay. But you can still lead with the product. I'm not telling you not to do that. I'm just saying make sure the opportunity gets mentioned no matter which way you choose first. And I don't think there's ever been a better line that I've ever heard in this industry than I may have something that can help you. Would you be open to looking at a video? It takes about 10 seconds to say, and it takes about 10 seconds to do after the conversation has ended. Folks, come on, you could do that 100 times a day if you want to be aggressive with building the business. Now, most people find it easier to lead with the products, okay? And I want you to wrap your head around this the next couple slides, okay? They find it easier to lead with the products. Why? Because you can see it, feel it, touch it, and taste it. It's tangible. Okay, it's tangible. That's why, see, the opportunity is not tangible unless you see the change in lifestyle and fun and time freedom and community and all of that. Okay, but let me ask you something. Have you ever wondered how other successful network marketing companies built billion-dollar companies? Okay, this is going to shock you. Okay, have you ever heard of ACN? Have you ever heard of Primerica, Legal Shield, Transamerica? I could go on and on. See, these are network marketing companies that are all billion and multi-billion dollar companies. And guess what? They don't have any products that you can see, feel, or touch. Nothing. How in the world did they get to become billion-dollar companies without products you could see, feel, or touch? You ever think about that? Okay. Well, see, they weren't in that business. Okay. They sold benefits. That's all they talk about in those companies. Okay. The benefits of life insurance, the benefits of financial services, the benefits of having a legal, service. People want to buy, they want benefits and they like buying benefits because they want the benefits. They don't want to know how or why it's going to work. They just want to know that they have the benefits protecting them from whatever it may be that they are concerned about in their life. Does that make sense? Okay. So think about what they did. They talked about benefits. They've all been around for many decades. They do many billions of dollars in business. So why did I share that with you? Well, about 4 or 5 months ago, April and I, we made a mental shift. And she had mentioned this. We kind of decided to go back to the old days, back to the future. Okay. We made a shift and decided we were going to lead with the opportunity. Why? So we can enroll more consultants. Why? Well, we want to go on free trips. Okay. We want our business to grow. We want it to multiply. We want our income to increase. We want our rank to increase. There's a lot of reasons, okay, why, but we decided we were going to change and shift and start leading more, okay, with the opportunity. April mentioned earlier, we started focusing on the prospect's needs. You've heard this saying before, but I don't know that a lot of people actually do it. And it's meet people where they're at. If you ever heard that before, just meet them where they're at. We just get so hung up on selling them on what we have on our mind that we just don't pay attention to their needs and wants. And we forget to meet them where they are. We act like if we meet them where they are, that's the end of it. So if they want to use the GLP-1 or the collagen or whatever it is, that's the end of it. That's not the end of it. If you bring up and let them know there is an opportunity. And it's all about what April was talking about, providing hope. For what? Well, better health and better wealth, finances, okay? Have fun. Man, fun is so important, folks. You know how many people go to work every day or even go to their business every day and they're just tired of it? They're just kind of worn out. They don't want to do it no more. It's not fun anymore. That's what happened in my picture frame in my art gallery business. When I had a chance to look back with an open mind without the emotion, it was like, man, for 2 or 3 years, the last 2 or 3 years, I just wasn't having fun anymore. I didn't like it anymore. I was good at it. I knew how to do it, but in my life, it just sucked. I didn't want to do it no more. Okay. And I didn't realize that, but you know what? It was all I knew how to do. I didn't know how to get out of it. Nobody had ever told me anything that I could ever do anything different. Nobody ever told me that. Okay. So when I saw that there was hope, when I saw you could have a business that was fun, when I met the community, I mean, freedom, holy smokes. I mean, I had 5 stores and a factory. It was an 80-hour-a-week job. Man, my kids would be sleeping when I leave in the morning and they'd be sleeping when I got home at night. I mean, there was nothing good about it. I was a prisoner. I had no freedom. Okay. And security, I'll tell you, and this was 100% on me, but the reason the business went bankrupt was because I extended too much credit to people I shouldn't have. And when two of them in the same month decided not to pay me, it was over. That was on me. Okay. They made financial decisions. They were far bigger companies than I was. I should have never extended the credit that I did because my business couldn't afford to lose it if we lost it. So we started talking more about these things and not getting sciency with people, not getting medicine-y with people, not getting technical with people. Even with the products, we talk like this. We don't talk sciency. Okay, we don't do that. If you complicate it, folks, you can't duplicate it. Okay, that's just a fact. I don't know if you're in the business, you may remember this. If you're new, just bear with me for a second. But do you remember the bonus pools and the cash prizes that we had before, before the new compensation plan came? What we were doing, folks, is we were learning a new behavior. Okay. The bonus pools helped us focus on gathering customers. Okay. And there was a reason for that. That was because we were about to change the compensation plan to our Evolve plan, and the commissions for gathering customers was going to increase dramatically. And that's when they introduced the Onyx bonus, the Emerald bonus, Sapphire bonus, and Diamond bonus. And that's also when commissions went up to 10 to 40% every month instead of 2%. So there was a reason to learn a new behavior because we were going to be able to make a lot of money gathering customers, and we still can and we still do. Okay. And we 90% of the time we're diamond. Every once in a while we miss it. Okay. But 90% of the time we are, and we're eligible for that 40%, 30 to 40% every month. But what this did is it kind of had us ignoring the 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 consultant side of things, the business side of things, the opportunity side of things. So we shifted just before, probably a month before they announced what they called the mini trip, which was to Bahia Mita, Mexico. Okay. We like trips. We like to travel. And it's so much more fun when someone else pays for it. I mean, it's just more fun when they pay for it, and they always take you to world-class locations. You should have seen the reserve that we were at when we were on safari. Man, it's just mind-boggling. In the middle of the bush, I guess I should say, and it was as exotic and as cool as you could get. But do you realize when we made this shift and started including the opportunity in all conversations and bringing it up first, we enrolled 24 consultants in 90 days. We earned that new trip that we had 3 months to qualify for. We did it in 6 weeks. See, we went from 90% customers and 10% consultants just 4 or 5 months ago to now it's 10% customers, 90% consultants. What changed? Our opportunities not changed. It is what it is. Okay, it hasn't changed. We just started sharing it more. Okay, we started letting people know we might have something that could help them. Do I explain it slide by slide? No, we do a couple live opportunity presentations on Zoom each month, but we record it and share the video and say, watch this, and then we need to talk. And that could be after the first conversation, but that could be after the 10th conversation. See, you got to have a lot of conversations going on. That's the other thing that I want to share with you, okay? What changed is we were including the opportunity in every conversation. That was what changed. But we also realized people are going to move at their own pace. And just because we have a trip to earn, just because we're closing out a month, just because there's some reason, we can press a little bit, but we can't force people to move and get involved unless they're ready. So how do we make sure we're not too pushy? How do we make sure we're not, I used to say, putting our hands in their pocket or reaching for their credit card or whatever you want to say? How do we make sure? We got to have enough conversations going on. It's called a funnel training, okay? But we got to have enough going on where we're sharing the information with enough people that every month we're getting the amount of people closed and involved in the business as we would like. And we've been averaging around a dozen a month for years, but they were 90% customers until recently. Okay. And now it's 90% consultants. And here's the key, folks. We didn't make the products less important. I mean, for Pete's sake, they're the best products in the world. They're still the best kept secret, okay? We just made sure we started including the opportunity as one of our products. It's a product. It's like Protandim, it's like collagen, it's like GLP-1. But you know what? The opportunity is all of it rolled into one. Think about this, okay? And I'm gonna close with this, and I'll give it back to Holly, okay? If you want to earn trips, if you want to rank advance, if you want to multiply your volume, if you want to multiply your earnings, then just start including opportunity in every conversation. All it is a new learned behavior. Just like with the bonus pools, we learned how to do that and get ready for the Onyx, Emerald, and Sapphire and Diamond to gather customers. Bringing up the opportunity is just a new learned behavior. Okay, that's all it is. Now, let's do one what if. What if 33 years ago, the gentleman that came in to get the magazine framed had approached me and said, I think you should have a water filter in your facility here in your bathroom because the water tastes terrible. I would have said, you're here after hours. You need to leave and come back when my secretary's working. Get out. But because we had a friendly conversation and he mentioned fun and I saw people enjoying themselves on the cover of the magazine and he mentioned opportunity and money, he didn't invite me to a meeting. He didn't think I'd be any good at it. So I had to invite myself to a meeting, okay? But that's okay. But what if he had just mentioned water filter and I'd said no and we never got introduced to this industry? That would be sad. And when you don't bring up opportunity to other people, April said this, you're stealing what could be their dream and their opportunity for the future. Start treating it just like you feel you have an obligation to share good health with them. Start taking on the same responsibilities. You have an obligation to let them know about the opportunity, because a lot of times people hide the fact that they're not happy or they need it. And unless you say it, they'll never know. So anyway, thanks for listening, folks. I hope you found a couple things there that you could share. And Holly, it's all yours.
Ah, I love it. What'd you guys think? Do you like? Yeah, see, I'm saying get the hands, get the clapping. I love all of it. So many great points. And again, it's like I'm just reiterating what you guys have already said. At the end of the day, what LifeVantage has to offer, people need. And I like that you started out with that. The opportunity never goes away. It's a question of whether or not you're actually sharing it. That's what it comes down to. And like April talked about, it's about conversations. All business is conversation. And just because you start a conversation with someone doesn't mean that it may open up for your products or opportunity. But when you start practicing that muscle of simply asking people, hello, how are you? Do you have a good day? Like that in itself is going to build your confidence level to just have a conversation without the preconceived notion that you're then going to try them, sell them something. Right? You know what I'm saying? I know some of you, you're like, oh, well, I'm afraid because you think you're selling people. You're having conversations because you think you're going to sell people. There are going to be people that I have, just so you know, there are people that I have started conversations, and I'm sure Bobby and April, you can chime in, that I've started conversations with that I have intentionally not offered what we have. I'm
Oh,
like,
yeah.
yeah, I'm like, this is not a person that I want to work with. They're a negative Nancy. They're going to find fault with everything. Like, I don't,
April just said that to me this morning. She says, I've had to dismiss a few recently.
Yes,
You're
exactly.
dismissed.
I love it. It's like, you know what? This isn't for you. And if it's for you, let it be someone else's you because it's not me. That's what I love, right? We have choices. We get to choose who we get to do business with. I didn't have that in my other career, right? So
Hey,
I love
Holly.
it. Yeah.
Holly, one of the questions in the chat, and I think this is important, and I saw what Catalina put in there. Someone's asking about speaking to a chiropractor or any
Yeah.
medical professional. Just remember, if you're their patient, you're paying them money for their education. They don't appreciate when you educate them.
Mhm.
It has nothing to do with your knowledge. They're not, it's an ego trip. It's just the posture when the start is all wrong. The way that Bobby and I have always recruited our docs is tennis or social. They were friends first. So it's not you. It's not anything you're doing wrong. You're walking into a landmine that's not gonna, or very rarely, I should say, go the way you want it to go. And it's really because of the dynamics that are set up. You're paying them money for their education, their knowledge, and their treatment, not the other way around. So it's
Your
very,
best, April, wouldn't their best shot be to make another doctor available to talk to them peer to peer, like a three-way call or
they
something?
can try that too, but I'm just saying if you're being shut down before you
Yeah,
say anything,
that's why.
that's why. So, it's not you. It's not anything you're saying. Like I said, you can't say the wrong thing to the right person. But because you're paying them money, it's just a hard uphill. It's easier ways to do it. And there's so many chiropractors get bombarded with so much product. Anytime you're in a chiropractor office, they have walls of products. So
Mhm.
it's not you. I just want you to know it's not you. It's just the circumstances. But I bet
Mhm.
if you were to meet that person anywhere other than their office where you're paying for their service, you'd probably have a whole lot easier time. So just a thought, because I hate to see people get a little disappointed,
Yeah.
because that's not you. It's not anything you're doing.
Right. Oh, it's so good. It's so good because the idea of talking to a doctor can scary, right? Because we just assume that they know more than we do. And so yeah, when you get that courage and then they just don't seem interested, it can be deflating, right? But that's why we keep having conversations and we talk to other people. But I like what you said, April. It's like, think about this. When you see your doctor, when was the last time, like, do you know what your chiropractor's interests are outside of the office? Do you ever ask them a question that's not about you and your health? So, like you said, kind of being that friend first. I think most people would probably be shocked. Medical professionals are shocked. Like, what do you mean you're talking about me? We're not here to talk about me. We're here to talk about you. I'm like, I know, but I'm curious. Like, do you like to play pickleball? Do you like to do other things? Um, but loving that. Someone
Yeah,
said, can you speak more about the Zooms?
social is always going to be better with doctors than, you know, doing
Yeah.
it the way we were talking.
Yeah. I mean, Katie's got a good question. You guys can certainly answer, but when Brian and I do opportunity overviews, we talk about the business and we talk about products. Okay. We share our story. We talk about the technology behind what we have to offer, our flagship products, and then we talk about the opportunity to make money through those. And so I don't know if Bobby and April, if you guys' flow is kind of the same or.
Well, you're definitely bringing up both, but one of the things April and I've been sharing with a lot of people lately, they want to know what are the keys? What do I need to get good at to do this business? And there's two things. You need to become really great at inviting.
Mhm.
You got to work on your invitation skills. And that's conversation, what April was talking about, okay? Because if you can converse, you can invite. You got to be a good inviter and a good connector to information. It's invite and connect. That is, and I can throw follow up in there too. But those are the things, and you work on those skills. What do you think, April?
Yeah, so when we do these overviews or anything, it's just an event. It's another thing to invite people to. And the other thing you need to get good at is direction. Give direction to people. So let's say Holly and Brian are doing their overview and they're going to talk product and opportunity. But I've got a lady that I just wanted to hear products. So I tell her, hey, Brian and Holly are doing this overview. The first half is going to be some products, and then they can talk about business, but you probably don't want to hear about the business. So just listen about the products. Time and time again, they stay on the whole time and come back and ask about the whole opportunity. But you see, I took it away from them. I said, you don't need the opportunity. You only want to know about the products. Everything is your direction for what you set them up for. It's what you say. So you just need to think about what goal you want out of every conversation you have, and no more. When I'm on the phone, if my goal is to get you to agree to lunch, I get lunch and I'm off. I don't spend another 40 minutes talking about stuff, because that's when people get in trouble too. So
I love that. Like just setting the expectations.
Mhm.
I love the takeaway. I have people all that say, "Hey, look, I know that you would have absolutely no interest in what it is that we do from a business perspective and how we make money. However, you shared this with me the other day. I think we have a product that would help you with that if you're open to taking a look at it." And if they say yes, again, like you said, oftentimes they're curious.
Mhm.
Right? They're curious, so they stick around, and doesn't mean that they're gonna go all in right away, but you pique their interest, and now they know more about what's available, and you can keep kind of dripping on them. And that's what I love about that. So I love that you guys kind of talked about making that shift. I mean, basically, what was old is new again, and that's the way that I look at it. I think folks are anxious to get back in connecting with people and fellowship. And yes, these Zooms are awesome. They allow so many of us to come together and do these trainings and learn from one another, especially if something's maybe not happening in our own backyard. But if it's not happening in your own backyard, then I would encourage you to ask yourself, why isn't it? And are you waiting on someone else to make that happen? Okay, what if you were the one to go ahead and start your own little training? What if even you chose to broadcast this Zoom on your television and invite other people over? And you make an event, right? We talked about events. You make an event out of it. Have everyone bring a dish, or if it's in the morning, coffee, donuts, whatever, however you want to do it. But you can have fun with it. You can get creative with it. And like Bobby says, it's that fun, it's the events, it's the community that April talked about, that most people just want to be a part of. They want to feel like a part of something. They want to feel a part about something. They want to have hope into something other than what it is that like they're doing today. Like you said, Bobby, some people just lose, they don't enjoy what they're doing anymore. They know how to do it, right? I spent 20 years in banking. I knew how to do it. But when the bank chose to let me go after 20 years of service, I wasn't going back and applying for other bank jobs because I was having too much fun doing this. I was loving what I was doing here. I wasn't loving what I was doing at the bank. It made me money. I knew what I was doing. But I also have a lot of friends that went back and applied for other jobs at the bank, not because they were still loving what they were doing, but because it was what they knew, right? And they were too scared and too afraid, unfortunately, to try something new and something different, and look at the opportunities. And so, again,
Well, and the thing, Holly, the thing that people forget, a lot of people love what they do, but it just doesn't pay them the kind of money to live the life that they want to live. So, this isn't just about, somebody leaving a job. They may love it. I know doctors and teachers, and there's a lot of people that love what they do, but maybe the money isn't there. So, that's why it's always meet them where they're at,
Mhm.
and I might have something that can help you. And it doesn't matter the circumstance. If somebody's not happy, whether it's their health, their time freedom, their lifestyle, their income, we have something that can help them. And if we don't put them in a box and we allow the box to expand and contract and based on where they are, then you'll recruit a lot of people into the business. You'll enroll a lot of people.
Yep. I love that. I mean, again, you get people want to fill in the gaps, but if they can choose how they want to fill in that gap and you make it fun for them, right? Because we're a volunteer army. Let's be honest. Wait, how many of you have enrolled somebody and they dropped away the next month or 3 months later or 6 months later, but you had so much hope and what they could do, right? We fall in love with their potential, right? But people get in their own way. But we are a volunteer army, and that's why making it important, letting people filling in those gaps, right? If people are feeling maybe not as appreciated at their job or what they do on the day-to-day basis or at home, make sure you understand who they are. How do they like to be recognized? What excites them? You know, for some people, it's just you acknowledging their accomplishments. Maybe someone actually making a phone call or inviting someone to an event for a first time was a big deal and you acknowledge that. It's those little things that create that community and get people excited. And so I know I mean you guys just had, and here's my thing, when you talked about making that shift and having more consultants than customers, the bottom line is we know the customers are going to come, right? We share everything, the customers are going to come. But we also know that our consultants are our most loyal customers. The consultants are the ones that are going to stick around with you, even if they never enroll a single person ever. They may still come to events. They'll get excited about the new products coming in. They'll hop on a call or two to learn something new.
Products are cheaper.
Charters, they just exactly. They just want to be a part of something, and you give them that option without feeling like they're getting another boss. Because most people join this not because they want another boss. That's definitely the a big piece of it. So, um,
Oh, the one other thing,
yeah,
April and I
yeah.
spend a lot of time talking about this. You know, we're not overnight.
Mm-mm.
We're not overnight. Well, we were the Protandim company, but overnight, all of a sudden, we're not just a collagen company. We're not just a GLP-1 company. And folks, we're not a gut health company. Okay. We're an activation company. We're a wellness and activation company. That gut health product is now another event or thing to talk about. It's
Mhm.
another reason to reach out and touch. It's some, like April said, there's this lady we both want. I think she's in South Texas. I forget where she is. I originally had her and gave her to April. I said, I can't get nowhere with this businesswoman. You take over. But it's another thing. It's another icebreaker. It's another thing to talk about. And that may be the hot button. They may have heard something about it. So don't just get one dimensional and make sure the opportunity is included in the conversation. Sorry, Holly, go ahead.
No, you don't need to apologize. I think people are appreciating this. I mean, the training is great, and the specific slides and bullet points are great, but I think people like being able to ask questions and enjoy just the backing and the talking and the openness and the transparency, right? Because like you guys said, like April said, like if they know anything on how to build this business or they learn something that's working, you're going to know about it. Right. And that's why I think we get along so well. Like Brian and I do the same. We're not here to hide anything from our team. We want our team to know everything that we know, so that they can choose whether or not to take the necessary action to have the desired success that they want to have. And that's what I think this is all about. And so we are going to be wrapping up here. But I mean, have you guys found value in this training so far today? You say yes, drop a one in the chat. If you say a yes, thumbs, all emojis, love it. So
Hey,
love
would
that.
everyone turn their cameras on? We really love to see
Yeah.
faces. We're almost done. Would
Yep.
you just smile and say hi?
Yay! There they
Thank you,
are.
thank you, thank you.
Katie, Wendy, Angie, Jokers. Oh my gosh, love it. Susan, see, I
We
love it.
love to see the faces, and
Yeah, look,
it don't have to
nobody's
be for the whole
judging.
thing, but just say hello.
Yes, I love it. When you show up and you show your face, I think it changes the level of commitment. I feel like when you're doing these. So thank you for that, Bobby. That was super cool. But no, the
But
reason
no, the reason
I asked
I
about
asked about
I'm getting feedback all of a sudden. Anyway, for the next event, November, Saturday, November 22nd. So write that on your calendar if you would, block that out. Saturday, November 22nd. That's going to be our next Activate Academy. As soon as we can share with you the presenters. We will certainly do that, but it'll be the same time. It'll be the same Zoom and password. We're going to try to keep things simple. We don't want you like, oh my gosh, it's different every time. I don't know. No, we want to make sure it's simple for you guys to be able to show up in doing what it is that we're doing. And as we wrap up again today, I just want to remind you, like when we do these trainings like this, um, we, in my opinion, would you agree that you have everything that you need to build an extraordinary business
Yeah.
right here in your hands, right? Incredible products, an incredible compensation plan, an incredible corporate staff that wants to see you succeed, uplines, downline, crossline, everybody willing to pour into you, regardless of who your enroller is. Okay. You are in control of your business, right? And you just spent the last 90 minutes learning like how to have conversations that create that impact and how to open people up and see if they're open. And then sharing and presenting it in a way that people want to be a part of this. Okay, so thank you again, Bobby and April. Give another big, huge shout out for them. But here's the truth. If I can talk real with you for a second, the information is cool because it creates that transformation. It gives you that knowledge, that know-how, but it's the action that's going to actually create the transformation that you're looking for in your business and within your life and within your relationships. It doesn't matter what it is, right? So I want you to think about every great story that we've ever talked about, even the ones we shared today, right? Walt Disney, he didn't wait for the perfect time or perfect funding. He started with a pencil and a dream. Okay. Bobby didn't wait for someone to invite him to a meeting. He went to a meeting all on his own. All right. So you already have the product, you have the system, you have the mentorship, you have the stories. So the question is, what will you do with what's in your hands today? Because the reality is that someone out there tonight and today is praying for better health. They're praying for more options. They're wanting to be part of a community. They're looking for someone else to appreciate who they are and their efforts. They're looking for a new start. And the best part is that you hold all of that. You hold all of that. So when you leave this call, I want you to take one conversation, just one that you've been hesitating on and have it. Don't overthink it. All right? You're not trying to convince anybody. You're simply inviting them to see if they're open to taking a look. You're not selling anybody anything. You're offering them a solution to something that they're already complaining to you about. And you're not pushing anybody because you're simply planting seeds so that when the time is right for them, they will want to move forward. This business doesn't belong to the most talented or the most outgoing. It really just belongs to those who show up, like you, who showed up today, right? And stay consistent and just lead with your heart. That's what it's all about, putting people first. So that's how I'm wrapping it up and closing out with you guys today. Again, thank you, April. Thank you, Bobby. This replay will be made available on our YouTube channel. I will get it up, if not today, by tomorrow. So you can certainly share it with those who aren't here. Or if there's something you want to go back and you want to re-listen to and take some extra notes, you can do that as well. So thank you again, everybody. Have yourself an incredible rest of the weekend. And we'll see you in Dallas next week. Bye.
Thank you.